When I challenged the CEO to look at things bigger, he was able to see that actually, he can do $1 million in the next year if he has the right support, if he puts into place the right systems. Anything's possible. It's just a matter of what it's going to take to get there and what it is that you're actually willing to do. And 100% year-over-year growth takes something. It takes investing in new ways of selling. It takes investing in the operational structure to really support that level of growth and the team and all that. And here's the thing is that takes money. That takes cash flow.
Is your current success putting a lot of demands on you? If you're good at what you do, and you are, then everyone wants you. But that's no way to scale. If you're delivering spectacular results, you should be commanding higher fees, working with only the best clients. Welcome to the Hands Off CEO podcast, where world-class agency owners and consultants learn how to fully monetize their expertise and scale profits by doing less. Here's your host, Mandi Ellefson.
Hello, my name is Mandi Ellefson, host of the Hands Off CEO podcast. And today, the topic that I want to cover is around what it actually takes to create rapid growth. And we've had the opportunity of speaking with thousands of consulting agency CEOs, hearing what their visions are, hearing what their growth goals are, and seen a number of trends. One of the biggest trends are that the CEOs will say, when you ask them, well, where do you want to be in 12 months? Where do you want to be in 3 years? They just kind of throw out a number. And that number, they may or may not have any emotional connection to that. And sometimes it's like a really small number. Like not long ago, I was talking with a CEO who had a business in the low seven figures, and they're like, well, you know what? Based upon what's reasonable in the past, I'd like to be able to add $200,000 to our growth this next year. And here's the problem with this. If you're basing your future success based upon what you've done in the past, you're only going to be able to get, at best, linear growth, at best, incremental growth. But if you have had a track record of, let's say, several years of stagnant growth, and you're basing what's possible in your company based on that, you're probably not going to think very far. You're not going to be looking very expansively. And when I challenged the CEO to look at things bigger, he was able to see that actually, he can do $1 million in the next year if he has the right support, if he puts into place the right systems. Anything's possible. It's just a matter of what it's going to take to get there and what it is that you're actually willing to do. And 100% year-over-year growth takes something. It takes investing in new ways of selling. It takes investing in the operational structure to really support that level of growth and the team and all that. And here's the thing is that takes money. That takes cash flow. And oftentimes what we see is this perspective around, well, you know what? I know I need some support to get to this next level, but what I'm going to do here is, since I don't have the money right now, I'm just going to go ahead and, bring on a couple more clients. And then, then we'll be able to look at the next step here, maybe, right? But then they bring on those new clients and then maybe they lost one or two, and they bring on those clients and maybe they're not actually adding much profitability because the whole problem is the actual business model that is not sustainable. So here's the thing is that for those folks that are looking at, I want to create this next level growth, I really encourage you to look at what is it actually going to take to do that and to adjust your expectations accordingly. Because, if you're looking at getting from $1 to $10 million in 3 years, for example, and then you're looking at investing in your company in kind of just little projects here and there, how well does that work out for your clients? When they go and say, you know what, can we just start with this one project and we'll see how this goes? Of course, the project doesn't have enough budget to it for you to actually deliver big enough results. And of course, it's maybe just a few months that doesn't actually give them enough time for the strategy to really work. And then the project ends and then they say, well, you know what, we're going to come back 6 months from now. We'll see where things are at. 6 months goes by, maybe you re-engage again, you bring on another project. The same thing happens all over again. And meanwhile, your whole business is full of these type of projects and it creates insanity. And this is one of the things that we see happen so often with consulting agencies is their business is just chock full of projects and of smaller retainers that are not actually poised, first of all, to be able to grow their company. It's not profitable and sustainable enough to grow their company. And it's actually not even serving their clients very well. And on top of that, it's harder to sell, believe it or not. One of our clients, Mark, he found out in 2020, they didn't ever have any problem selling their services before. But when they got to 2020, their banking clients, they started getting a little bit fearful. And you know what? The $20,000, $30,000 investment for projects that they would normally pay started to sound kind of expensive. So they stopped investing. So what we did with Mark is we looked for his irresistible offer for like, where's the profit sweet spot client within that? What is the outcome that they really want? What is this expansive vision that we can create for them over a 1 year and a 3-year period of time? And then how could you be able to position this where it's so irresistible, they see you as this growth partner that they can't live without? Well, what Mark found is when he positioned his offer that way, the people who stopped investing all of a sudden started investing. And they went from being willing to invest in $20,000 projects to over $100,000 projects. They were able to increase their fees 600%, while at the same time, because they were actually managing to an outcome and an objective, it allowed Mark to be able to step back a lot from the day-to-day because the team could manage to an outcome and objective. And the client didn't freak out about him not being as involved in it because they knew that they were getting an outcome working with the company. And it wasn't about how much time that they got from the CEO. So here's the thing is that the same patterns that you're running in your company perhaps may be the same way that you're investing in your own company. So the same dynamics that are causing problems in your operations, that are eating away at profits, that are causing cash flow issues, you're not going to solve that by bringing on more clients that's just going to continue that process, and that it will just continue stacking up your hours and working more and more and more. You got to find a different way of scaling. And it's fine if where you're at is, if that's where you're not interested in scaling more than that. If you've grown to where you want to go and that's it. But people who are listening to our podcast, what they have in common is they really want to create rapid growth. So I'm telling you right now what it takes to create rapid growth. What the companies that are creating rapid growth do is they get support. They look at where do they want to go, who has already done that before, and who has built a repeatable process that can be customized to my specific situation, that's done it before for a similar type of situation. That's what your clients are doing when they're investing with you, aren't they? What we're seeing is that the rapid growth companies look at it from the perspective of, oh, not like there's just one investment here that I'm going to be making, and then I'm like, I've arrived. They have much bigger ways of looking at their business. They look for partners all around them to find better ways to do things faster. And they are investing in the support of others, team members within their team, outside experts, outside partners, outside vendors, and they're finding better ways to do things than they could possibly do it on their own. And while they're doing that, they're creating more growth for their company. They're doing better results for their clients, and they're doing it from a place of having a bigger vision and looking at what they're actually wanting to create on the longer term and creating that now, stepping into that future now, instead of just looking at the past and saying, well, this was reasonable based upon what was possible in the last 5 to 10 years. And that's going to get you what you get, right? But more often what we see is folks will look at that and say, you know what, I found something that could be interesting to invest in. You know, they have some great results. I think they could really help us. But then they ask the question, well, do I have the money? Which of course they don't, which is why they need the help, right? And here's the thing is that in our case, our clients invest in our services for the same reason that their clients invest in theirs, because they want more money. They want more growth, right? And in our case, just about all of our clients charge a lot more than we do for the services for us to be able to help them be able to increase their fees. And you know, that when you're making an investment growing to the next place, right? When you're doing that, there's this initial leap. And, you know, for our clients, it's a leap of 3 to 6 months because they're going to get a return on investment in the first 3 to 6 months. Most of them in 3 months, but let's say that's a little bit more complicated offer and takes a little bit more time. Maybe that's 6 months, right? They're able to bring in a couple new clients that at a much higher price point. Eventually, they're going to be getting up to triple their price point. And they might not get triple their price point right within the first 3 months, but within the first 6 months, they should start seeing some of those sales coming in if they're following the process, right? Now, if we compare and contrast, like that's a leap of faith, right? That's a little bit scary because you're investing ahead of where your cash flow is. And by the way, if you want to create 100% year-over-year growth, if you're looking at being able to scale a company to 8 figures or so, you're going to have to invest ahead of your growth. And you might not have to invest that far ahead of your growth. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go and get outside investors to is going to take equity in your company or, big loans. You don't necessarily have to do that in every case. Sometimes it's beneficial, but it's really more about making the short term and making investments that you can get a short term return on very quickly. And this is something that I learned many years ago in our company, where I would be trying to solve these problems. And I remember there was one investment I really wanted to make. But you know what? I needed to fix this one thing first. And it was an operational issue. And because I'm an operations expert, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to fix this first. It's just going to take about a month or so. I'll fix this first, and then we'll be in a good position. We'll have the cash flow to be able to make this investment. And here's what happened. 3 months goes by, 20 plus hours investing in trying to solve this problem, banging my head against the wall. I finally just gave up. I'm just going to go for this thing. I didn't get where we wanted to go. So here's what I found. I got the support, and within about 2 weeks of starting to get support there, what I realized is that problem that I was banging my head against the wall, this was not meant to be fixed. It was meant to be eliminated. I was trying to solve the wrong problem. And as a result, the opportunity cost at that time for those 3 months was at least $100,000. Now, if I would have made that same mistake, and I try my best never to make that same mistake again, but if I made that same mistake again now, it would be well in the hundreds of thousands, if not even the millions of dollars. Because when we see an opportunity and we don't jump on it, if we're limiting ourselves, sometimes the timing's just not right. Sometimes they're just, babies come, parents need extra help. There are just things that happen that make it, maybe it's not the time to scale. But if you have a goal and you're trying to DIY it, look at your own business, look at your own clients, and really see how much growth you can help your clients make if they go all in and jump right into it. And when you're looking at it from that perspective, you ask yourself, am I holding myself back from fear? Am I assuming that I know more than I actually do? And consider for yourself if you're willing to invest in your earning potential. You probably did once before. Maybe you have this degree that you spent 45 years of your life full-time going to school. But add the actual money you would have made if you would have been working full-time, plus the actual money that you spent for that degree, probably in an area, in a field that you don't even work in anymore. I'm not a geologist. I studied to be a geologist, but I didn't become a geologist. I'm not saying it wasn't a good use of my time and energy to invest in that, but that was an investment in my earning potential. And in my business, I've made a lot more investments in my earning potential, far, far beyond what I did investing in that degree. And the reason why is because the return on investment is that much bigger, because I believe in myself, and because I'm worth the investment. So I'm encouraging you, as you're looking at your 2024 goals, to really look at what do you want to create, to stop looking at being reasonable based on what was possible for you in the past, and instead look at the possibility. Let go of your fear, and then look for a faster, easier way to do it. And then when you're actually calculating whether you can, quote, afford it or not, look at if you can afford not to. I'm not saying if hands-off CEO is the right fit for you or not. It's actually not the right fit for most people. Our way of doing things, we're pretty unreasonable in our methods. We're pretty intense, if I'm being honest. But the results we create are pretty badass. And we work with the very best consulting agencies in the space. We help them become the top 1%. What is the best 1%? It's the people who are out there generating great results. It's the people who are out there who have the ability to, potentially add millions of dollars of growth to a client, to their business, even if they don't know how to actually quantify that with them. We help them quantify that. We help them position their business as the best. And then we help them sell that, build their pipeline around that. And we help them be able to scale their whole business based upon that, building their team so that they can step back from the day-to-day and the business can run without them, and then grow without them. If that's what you'd like our support with, you can go to handsoffceo.com/scale, book in a time with our team. We'd be happy to take a look at your situation and give you our feedback and to look at what might be possible for your company. If you're listening to this and saying, hey, I'm not really sure if this is a fit for my company or not, still reach out, because we may be able to make a referral to another partner that maybe works with your industry better or with your growth stage better. But we have a lot of great contacts that we can make referrals to if we can't support you. So again, handsoffceo.com/scale. Again, if you haven't had a chance to pick up a copy of my new book, The Hands Off CEO, Triple Your Fees and Profitably Scale, a consulting agency that grows without you, go to Amazon, look it up, and let us know what you think about it. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I hope it wasn't too intense for you. I hope you got some good insights for thinking about investing ahead in 2024, and have a fantastic rest of your day, whatever you're up to. This is Mandi Ellefson with the Hands Off CEO podcast, signing off.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Hands Off CEO with Mandi Ellefson. If you want to work less and make more, make sure you subscribe and get a new episode every week, and help spread the word by leaving a review.